Okay, the legs are on. The next step is to stitch on the arms. So I'm going to snip off that end because that's not wanted on the voyage. And so I will thread the end that's at the center of the armband onto the top of the teddy bear body. And it goes a little bit to, it goes to the front. Here's the ring of stitches, and it goes to the front of that. So it's going to get anchored at the center. We want both arms to be the same length. So I'm working on just getting these arms. Come on, arm. That one is a little off. Okay, that's better. All right, so I'm going to anchor it at the front of the body, stitching over it and over it to secure it. So there are the arms. And the next step then is to stitch the head in place. I want this strand of yarn that's at the base of the head. I'm going to take that up inside and bring it up to the top of the head for the ears, and bring it out just slightly to one side of the ears. Okay, I'm looking at where's the center. There it is. Okay, so I want that kind of centered off of there. So there, those will be, those strands at the top of the head are for the ears. And I'll put this strand back in and stitch the head to the body. Now, trying to find focus here. There we go, there's focus. Okay, so I just go into the gathered stitches of the head, coming up through the gathered stitches of the body, stitching over the arms, and I go back and forth between those gathers at the center of the head to the gathers at the center of the body to get the head placed correctly. You don't do the, like, there's the back seams. I want them lined up. Don't do the ears or eyes and nose until you've got the bear, the head and the body stitched together, because you can end up with the bear looking wildly off in all directions. I mean, that can still happen anyhow, because each of them seem to have their own little personality as you weave them, and you'll find that no matter how many of these you make, you'll never make two that are the same. Okay, and I'm trying to find the focal, there's the focal point, and I'm going to, I've gone in and out and roundabout, and now I'm going to wrap around the neck to give a little bit of definition to the neck, like this. Then I'm going to stitch over those wraps, which is always a bit stiff to stitch over the wraps. So once and twice, and then I'm going to take this end up to use it as well. There we go. Now I'm going to do the ears using this thread. If I need to cut more, I will certainly use more. I'm going to grab a, let's see, what do I have? A crochet hook is usually a good size, or a dowel, or here's the end of a chopstick. I'm going to just hold that, going from the back of the head to the front. I'm going to stitch over that using 2 strands of, oh yes, and one of them jumped out. Okay, well I'm going to do it with just 1 strand then, just because it's being snarky. Okay, so once and twice and 3 and 4 times. Oh, I just have a teeny bit left, though I'll go 5 times. And then bury that end inside the head. Now I will, okay, I'll snip this end off. Actually, I'm going to go back with it just 1 more time, just to make sure it stays inside the head and doesn't drift off elsewhere. To lands unknown. Okay, now I can either snip that off or weave it in. Okay, so I'm going to stitch now over those wraps, and see, it's very important that I hold my whatever I'm using, in this case that end of a chopstick, hold it straight from front to back. If you come at it from side to side, your ear's going to be, well, quite peculiar. Yeah, because I mean that just won't be anatomically correct. And I mean, these are fanciful little creatures, but things like details like getting the ears going in the right direction make a difference. Okay, and now I just stitch over and over and over, and that gives me my ear. I didn't count how many times I went over it, but just until it looks right. And then take your end inside, and you'll be able to use this little bit of thread that's left, can be used in the other ear. So again, I come from the back towards the front. I'm going to thread my needle through. We'll start with this itty bitty bit of thread here. Get it used up. I'll thread it into the needle without arguing with the chopstick about it. Okay, so coming from the back to the front, and over once, over twice, and it's okay to lead with the eye of the needle, and come on through there. Thank you. And now I'm going to just hold it over, and I'm going to thread the other end through. Now I went around the chopstick 5 times for the first ear, so of course I want to do exactly the same thing for the second ear. And so, oh, whoops, I pulled out, but luckily I can just stick that back in. And so I want to hold that end down, and I'm stitching over. There we go. And one more time. That little froofy bit, I can either weave that into the head. I probably should, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so this little fluffy bit here, just so for the sake of keeping the ear kind of the same as the other ear, I will now stitch over. I'm going to probably need another little snippet. Yeah, I'll need another little snippet of yarn to finish this ear up, and that's okay too. You can just weave your ends in. I might even use a felting needle to just lock those ends in there. I'm coming through again here, and take this end in here. Oh, it's fluffing out on me. So I am going to try and locate I have a felting needle close at hand here. Here it is. And when you have a situation like this where you've got little fluffy bits, keep your fingers out of the way. Now, normally I would not be doing this in mid-air. I'd be working on a proper felting surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera and go get the, oh, here's the brush. All right, I'll stick the brush under here and just see if I can't get that little ear to look a little nicer. Yeah, always keep your fingers away from the felting needles because, oh my goodness, that hurts like anything if you accidentally impale yourself. Yuck, it's horrible. So, yeah, the ears are not identical, but some bears are like that. Yeah, because I use quite fluffy ends there. And I don't think you can see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm just tucking those ends in. I think if I did a bit of felting on this ear, it would fluff it up a bit too, just to make it look a bit more like its better half there over there. So there, that kind of fluffed that one out. I'm going to just tuck this end in with the felting needle. There we go, that's locked. And next will be the eyes and nose and mouth. So there's our bear, the little one. I'm going to go and get the larger bear ready for eyes, nose, and mouth too. And then I'll be right back and we'll do the eyes and embroider the nose and mouth. So the little bears are ready for their eyes, noses, and mouths. I have glued little hearts that I punched out of some junk mail and glued those onto their tummies, their chests. And this little one, I just love tatting, and so I'll often just tat short little bits so that I can use them in tapestries and teddy bears and doll making. And so this one's collar is a bit of tatted lace. Now I have chosen 2 different sizes of beads. These are called E-beads, and these are seed beads. And I've just got 2 strands of sewing machine thread threaded into a needle that I did check to make sure that it's going to fit through those little beads. And so I'm just going to take the needle into the back of the teddy bear. So I take the needle into the back of the teddy bear and I come out at the crease, ouch, hopefully not in my thumb, which I just did. Okay, so in the crease of the back of the head, between the body and the head, and I haven't tied a knot in the thread. I want to just gently just pull up till the thread disappears, and now I'll take another stitch or a stitch to secure that in the back of the head. And then I'm going to go to the front of the head and I'm going to aim for the middle of the face. I'm going to now establish the center line of the teddy nose. The teddy bear nose is a V shape, and so I make the center line smack dab in the middle of the face. Now I'm going to stroke those threads all the way to the end. Now I'm going to come over just a bit, and I'm pivoting from the point of the nose up and coming out to one side. I'm going to turn the bear around and go in again at that lower point and come out to the other side of the center line, and this is establishing my V. Now I'm going to fill in those gaps, just stitching in to just fill them in so we get the nice solid nose. Now I'm going to go up and come out on the eye line, pick up one of my beads. Oops, it's dancing away on me, and I am stitching through it to place it on the little bear's face. I'm going to go through one more time and across to the second eye. That looks about right. I like the seed beads on the smaller bears better than the E beads. See, I think the E beads, I might take these eyes off and do seed beads, because I think this one makes the eyes a bit buggy, but I'll do that later. Okay, and now I'm going to stitch the second eye in place. By moving back and forth from the eyes to the nose, I know that the eyes are, they're just not going to come back. They're not going to come out. Oops. I think I probably should. Did I stitch through that twice? If I didn't, okay. I'll take a couple of stitches through the nose to keep on with the filling up of his little nose, or her, there, little nose. And I'm going to go back and make sure that I have stitched through that twice. I don't think I did. Okay. Yeah, by moving back and forth between the eyes and the nose, you get a really securely attached eye. And now I am coming back in the nose, and I'm coming down through the nose, and I'm going to come out slightly below the nose. Oops, sometimes the thread will tangle, and you just keep stroking it gently and encouraging it to behave itself nicely. Play nicely, thread. I'm not sure what's going on here, why it's doing that. We have one rogue strand there. Usually when I stroke the strand out, it behaves itself. Okay, so I have stepped out just below the nose, and now I'm going to stitch through there. And now over to one side. And I'm taking a little, it's almost like I'm making another V to make the smile. So I'm coming out at the lower part of the smile, and I'm going back in. Oh, bless me. Lots of pollen in the air right now. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'll turn the little bear around and I'll do that same little V trick and take that tiny little stitch that just secures the smile in place and back up into the nose, and there we go. So we have a smile. And I'm going to just take some little short filler stitches just to fill in the little bits of blank up there at the top of the nose. Ouch! Top of the nose and into my finger. There we go. Just a couple more stitches here, and then I'll go back down and out at the back at the base of the neck again and secure. So I'm going to step down into the little nose and out at the base of the neck. And if you find it hard to pull the needle through with your fingers, that's when having a pair of needle nose pliers, it's really handy, and I use needle nose pliers a lot when I'm stitching sculptural elements. So I'm going to do one more teeny little stitch and then down through the body and out, and when I am going to snip the thread, I pull up quite hard on it so that I can get it to pop up inside the body. There, it's inside the body, and there's a very darling little face. So for the larger bear, I'm going to do exactly the same thing in the body, out in the gap between the head and the neck. Well, it's the back of the neck, really. It's between the head and the body. And I take, usually I wear a thimble too, and then pull that. Whoops, I pulled it right up. I pulled up so well on it. Okay, that happens. I'll try that again without pulling all the way through. Okay, so the threads are in the body now, and I take one little anchoring stitch in the crease of the back of the neck, and then a second little one. And again, I go out to the middle of the face. Is that the middle? No, a little bit over. Sometimes you have to play a bit of almost like guacamole to get it to come in the right place. So now I'm establishing the center line of my nose, or his nose, or her nose. Okay, out to one side, back in and out to the other side. Get your foot out of the thread there, teddy bear. Okay, and I can, I can go up and put the eyes on now, or I could wait and do it later. Why not do it now? So the larger bear, I'm using the slightly larger needles. No, I'm not. I'm using the same size needle, the slightly larger size bead. And snagging here. Thank you, little bear. Okay, going through again, down into the nose. Take a filler stitch up to the second eye. Oh, I'm going to have to get some more thread. I've I didn't put enough thread in my needle here. And you know, it doesn't matter how many teddy bears you make. Each one is going to be completely and totally unique. They never, even though you're using exactly the same technique, they never look the same. Okay, I'm going to have to go and get more thread. So I will go get more thread, and I will give this little bear a smile and come back. I think I'll tie a little ribbon around their neck, and when they're both done, I'll be right back. And there we go. Two little bears that are about, how tall are they? They're about, they're around 3 inches, and the little guys are about 2.5. Let me see, 3. Yeah, they're 3 inches, and the littler ones are 2.5. So there you go, and I hope you'll enjoy weaving up a handful of teeny tiny teddies for your teddy bears and for your pocket too. Happy weaving and happy teddy bears. Teddy bears are such good medicine.